everybody, Christina here, and we are going to make a new fun card. I have not made it before. I did work out like a rough little, well, you can see my little cheats here. So I have lots of little cheaty things here. So I'll be looking at all this stuff. I usually make like a little, kind of like a template, a rough template before I make anything. But I figured I kind of stole Meadow's Nutcrackers, which she said I could, so it's not really stealing, right? So, but I took hers because I can't find mine. I did find the snowflakes from yesterday though, so that was pretty, or not yesterday, the day before. So that's pretty cool. So I found the snowflakes, but I'm going to go ahead and use her Nutcrackers because I feel like they would go really good with this card that we're going to be making. It's a surprise pop-up gift card holder. So again, I'm going to be using the Nutcrackers, and I'm going to be using let me take this out so you can see it a little better. But we're going to be using the Season of Giving patterned paper, which is a lot of fun. I like that there's tags. I was trying to incorporate a tag into this, but I don't think it's going to work out. But we'll still give it a go maybe. So the surprise pop-up card, I'm going to move this aside. I do have some elements that are already die cut and ready to go. I'm going to set those aside. But you're going to start out with, so I'm using, you can use whatever color you want, obviously, but this is Rope by Basil. I love it because there's like a little, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a little polka dot pattern on there. I'm just looking at my camera to make sure that you guys can see it. So this piece of paper is 9 1/8 by 5 1/2. It doesn't always measure correctly. Like, it's really kind of hard to score right in the middle because of that 1/8. But this was taken from, I saw a really cute pop-up scrapbook page, and I thought that was really fun. And I know I've seen like a couple of cards like this, but I've never really seen, I don't know if I've seen the measurements or not. I don't think I have because I don't have it saved. But this was like a little scrapbook thing that I thought was a lot of fun. It like popped up and there was pictures on it. So again, this is 5 1/2 by 9 1/4. We're just going to fold it over and score it right in half. And then we're going to set that aside. And this piece is 9 by 5 3/8. Don't worry. All the measurements are down in the description for you. So this piece, we're actually going to need our scoreboard, and we are going to score this at 2 1/2 from each side. So 2 1/2 on this side, and then 2 1/2 on this side. Okay. And honestly, now that I think about it, you can go ahead and also score this right in the middle. So this is 4 inches long in the center. So I'm just going to burnish that really fast. That way I can just go like this. See, it's 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and score this at 2. So again, 2 1/2, 2 1/2, fold this side up and score it at 2, okay? So, and we're just going to fold this. Actually, we're going to fold it this way because we want the polka dot side up. If you don't have textured paper on yours, then it won't matter which side you fold it. It'll be just fine the way that it is. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and burnish all of these little creases. Let Make sure they go the way I want them to go and to stay that way. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this, well, I guess I shouldn't flip it over, but I'm going to grab my ruler. And my ruler, I'm going to take, I'm going to measure from each side, I'm going to go in 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to make a little dot. And then on this side, I need to go another 3/4 of an inch. Okay, from side to side. Now I'm going to use my ruler and my hobby knife because I want the line to be straight. So from the dot, and I'm going to go about, let's see, how much is that? That's like a 1/16 of an inch. I'm just going to go from side to side. I'm going to go from the dot. Whoops. Make sure your ruler doesn't slide. So from the dot all the way down to the dot. And then me being me, I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. And I'm probably giving it a little extra room, but that's fine with me because I don't want my gift card to get hung up. You know, so I would rather have a little bit of room than no room and have it get hung up. So there we go. This is, if I measure this out, this is about a 1/4 inch thick. So I'm just going to take this piece out. It looks like I needed to push down a little bit more in a few places. There we go. Now it wants to come loose. Maybe it doesn't want to come loose. It's being very stubborn. There we go. There. Now it's coming loose. Now your slit does not need to be this big, okay? I just know I'm putting a rather thick gift card in there. Plus I'm going to be putting a couple of layers on there, so I don't want things to get stuck. So it'll just go ahead like this. I'm just going to clean this up really fast. All these little stragglers. There we go. Make it all look nice. Okay. So now we have, or I had, oh, here it is. It's underneath all my little things. We have this piece. This is Cherry Cobbler by Stampin' Up. Love the paper still. Can't help it. So this piece is 4.5 by 3 3/4. So on the 4.5 side, we want to score this at 5/8. Okay, so the 4.5 side, score this at 5/8. And then I'm going to turn this just so that I can make sure that my cut line is in the center. I am going to go ahead and score this at 7/8. 1 7/8. Okay, because that is the middle of 3 3/4. So 1 7/8 is where I'm going to put my score line, just up to this score line. So I'm all done with that. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this, and I'm going to go both ways because one flap's going to go back and one is going to go forward. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut right up to that first score line, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it so that it's And I cut it right on that 1 7/8, which is centered. So let's put my scissors away for just a minute, and we're going to come back to these pieces. So here is our card base. Here's the mechanism. Okay, that's going to fit right in there. And then this, we're just going to go like, we're going to flip it other, opposite sides. We're going to put that in there, make sure everything fits okay. Okay, everything fits. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some score tape on here, on each one of these flaps. So I'm going to put one on this side, and I'm going to put one on the other side. Make sure it's not going on the same sides, or you're going to glue something down that you really don't want to glue down. So make sure it goes on opposite sides, okay? So now I'm going to take this off, and I can go ahead and put this down right in the center on the score line. I'm not pushing it down all the way yet because I want to make sure that I'm on the score line and everything is going where it needs to go. Here we are. Throw those away. Okay, so this piece is going to lay right on top of this one. And when you close it, it will hide itself. Okay, and we want to make sure this still closes completely because you just laid all that stuff right there. So we want to really burnish all that down so that it will make sure it lays down nice and neat. So, and you always want to test your mechanism before you do anything with it so it'll pop open. Okay, it hides itself and it pops open. And you can put a gift card on there. I'm going to be putting, like I said, I made mine a little thicker, so you really only need to make it maybe 1/8 of an inch unless you're going to be putting a bunch of layers on yours too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my paper cutter. Here we go. I'm going to set this aside really fast, and I'm going to go ahead and I already have a piece of ho paper out of the same paper pack. I've already got that picked out, and I'm going to go ahead and let's see, so this paper, the cranberry paper, is 4.5 by 3 1/4, but we also measured it down a little bit. So I'm going to cut this, let's see, let me get my ruler. So I'm going to cut this at, let's see, I'm going to cut it at 3 5/8 by 3 1/2. So 3 5/8 by 3 1/2. But you know what? I just thought of something. I think I want to put, should I put some stripes behind this? Maybe some green stripies. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that looks nice. So we'll cut this one at 3 1/2. Let's see. 3 1/2 by 3 5/8. So that one's going to go there. And then I'll cut the ho. That one, I want it to go because we're going to open the card this way. So I kind of want it to make sure that this goes the right direction. So let's see what this one is. This was 3.5. So this is going to be 3.25 by, see, that was 3 5/8. So we'll take it down to 3 3/8. Again, don't worry. All of these measurements that we do, even these ones that I'm figuring out with you, we will go ahead and stick those down below. Okay, so there's that one. So our sides, they're not going to have much of a space to write anything. So those are pretty much just decorative. I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece of stripy paper. If I can find another piece of stripy paper. Let's see. Help if I took it out, huh? I've been using the heck out of this paper. So has Meadow. We love this paper. Here's a piece. So we'll use that stripy paper. And I'm really sorry if you can hear clanking. My bunny, Peaches, is playing with her little cups. So this piece was 3.5 by 3 5/8. Then I'm just going to take a piece of, let's see, I have a piece of white scrap paper over here. So this one is going to be 3 3.25 by 3 3/8. So now I have a little place to write something if I want to write something, and I'm going to go ahead and put those right onto that piece of paper. That way we are decorating as we go. I'm just going to use my mono adhesive. If my fingers would work, that would be spectacular. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this on the right way. And we'll stick this one on. And remember, this one is popping out, so you really don't want a whole lot of something sticking out. So like 3D foam and stuff like that. And then we can take, I just made, this is the same size of actually a gift card, but I never seem to have one on me. So you can put it on here like this, or you can put it on like this, however you want to put your gift card on there. So at least that way you can see, make sure that it's going to fit. So I'm going to put this one on the other side. And then we'll put our piece of white cardstock so that we have something, we can write our little message on there. Or put a sentiment if you like, if you want to put a sentiment on the inside instead of on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and grab this piece now. We're just going to slide that in there. Okay, we're going to lay this down. And I'm going to make sure that it's covering that part, and then we can pull it over and it covers that right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put that right there, and I'm going to put, you know what, I think I'm going to put some score tape just in case. So I'm going to put some score tape down, but we're still going to use the glue so we can have that wiggleness. Let me put this back up here. Okay. So just making sure we get that on there. And I'm going to put 4 on here. You don't have to put that many. I just want to make sure that it's going to be strong. Basil paper, while it's fantastic, can sometimes just come apart a little bit if you pull too hard. So I want to make sure that it really does stay. So I'm going to take those white strips off, the little protective papers, and then we'll stick some glue on there just to make sure everything is going to stick. So I'm going to get the edges here, go along here. You don't want to get too close right here. You don't know if it's going to stick to something it's not supposed to. Okay, so just getting all the glue where it needs to go. I'm going to open this back up, make sure this is nice and straight and where I want it to be, just to make sure. And now I'm just going to go ahead and close this, and then that will set the glue onto the back side of the card, or the inside of the card actually. So and then I'm just going to flip this over, rub it a little bit more, make sure we get all those edges down, and I'm going to open it, and then hopefully, yep, it still comes out. So I'm going to lay this down and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Go ahead and put that score tape on there. And again, I'm going to use 4 pieces. Here we go. And then I'll take the protective paper off and we will put the glue on, just for that wiggle room. Now, one thing that you could do if you didn't want to put your little writing space onto the little pop-up part, or you could use it for a second little writing space, is you can put like a little, I would do like 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 piece of paper and just put it on one of these end pieces. So now I'm just going to close that. Put that down. And now we have our card and the mechanism works. Yay! Isn't that fun? It's probably the easiest pop-up card I've ever made, which is amazing. I love looking at scrapbook stuff. So when you do put it on here though, you can see mine has a little bit of an edge right here. You want to make sure you have a little bit of an edge. That way it doesn't like slip down and then it gets caught underneath this part instead of popping out. So you just want to be careful of that. But the edges, I was saying, you could put some, like I'm going to put some paper. We can put some paper here and just decorate it however you want to decorate, or you can just leave it just like this. I'm going to go ahead and decorate the front. So if I pull it out, it'll be, you know, it still pulls out like this. So you can decorate it however you like. So I'm going to go ahead, so you can put, if you open it, say, oh, hey, look. Oh, and it opens, and then there's your little message. So you can decide which side you want to open it to. I'm going to open mine up to the little message bit. And I've already got some stuff all picked out for this. So I have this piece that I've die cut out with one of the dies that we're going to be selling next year, starting next year. I'm going to go ahead and just glue this part down. And I'm going to put this at a bit of an angle, just because I feel like angles are fun. I learned that from my old friend Angela. And I loved how she used to do that all the time. So, and then I have, this is actually just a piece. I had cut out this piece here, but I cut it out this piece, and then I had laid the other die in the middle, and this piece didn't come out quite right. So I was like, you know what though? I said, I think this will serve as like a nice little, just a nice little piece. So I'm going to go ahead and use that on here. Sometimes it's fun just using the scraps, especially when it doesn't really look like a scrap. So this, if I can get it on there without gluing it to everything. Thank goodness I'm going to be covering this up. I'm going to put that opposite of the red one. And I've got this kind of shimmery, I don't think you can tell, but this is kind of like a shimmery champagne kind of color. And I wanted to take and put this big snowflake. Do I want it there or do I want it? I want it there. So I'm going to take this snowflake and I'm actually going to glue it to the back of my cardstock. So I'm just going to put that, there we go, put it right there. Has a little bit of glue hanging off the side, but that's quite all right. It'll work out just fine. Then I'm going to use some 3D foam to put this on. And I'll more than likely be using it for the little nutcrackers as well. So I'm just going to grab this, flip that over, put all my paper in there. Makes it so much easier if I just put all my little discard papers right into that little lid, because then I can just empty the lid out. Here we go. My fingers do not want to work today. There we go. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to do a little bit opposite as well. Okay. You can see I don't worry about things hanging over because I normally just use a bigger envelope or something like that to make sure that it all stays nice and neat. So we'll go ahead and put this on. Probably just dumped out too many, but oh well, that's okay. Let's see. Do I put one in the, yeah, let's just put one in the middle just so I don't have to worry about it and think about it the whole time. Here we go. And this I'm actually going to go ahead and make straight, believe it or not. So I have these 3 little nutcrackers, and I'm going to put one little, well actually these are kind of thin, so I'm going to go ahead and put 2 on. But I'm not going to take the paper off yet because I want to position them first to make sure that they're going exactly how I want them to be. This one, I think I want that one to go that way. And then we'll put him there. So I think they're going to go just like this. And then I want him to be kind of forward. He kind of looks like the general, doesn't he? So I kind of want him to be doubled up. So this one's kind of large. So what I'll do is I'm just going to fold that in half and then tear that piece off and keep the other bit on there. And then we will go ahead and put that one on and double this one up. Oh, I wasn't supposed to take that off yet. There, put it back on. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put that. So he's a little higher, not much higher, but he is a little higher, so I do like it. So I'll take these off and position these guys. There we are. And then we'll go ahead and get this little guy on there. I really love how Meadow colored these. There we go. Okay, now we will take his little papers off. And we'll put him right in the center, or as close to the center as we can get. And then this, I'm going to go ahead and bend these up a little, and I will go ahead and get that on there. And those can go away. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some dewdrops. Let's see where, here it is. So we will go ahead and put one here. And we'll put one here. And let's see, we'll put one down there. Okay, go ahead and get a couple of them out. I have very, very small ones. I love the tiny ones. It's like they add just a little bit extra without being huge and overwhelming. So there is the dewdrops. So now whenever I give this to someone, we'll go ahead and they'll open it, and there's their message, and then on the other side is a gift card. So I hope you enjoyed the card. I hope you guys make one. If you do, let me know. Please go ahead and tag Crafty Stamp Co. on your social medias if you make one, and share it. And I hope you enjoyed the card. Bye everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.